AEW Fight Forever is a new take on the past generation of wrestling games. With developers Ukes at the helm, THQ Nordic, along with All Elite Wrestling, have come together to deliver a different take on the current landscape of wrestling games in this space. But does AEW Fight Forever serve those feelings of nostalgia, or are you just left feeling empty inside? Players of previous entries in the series will instantly be covered in a wave of nostalgia when booting up the game for the first time. I don't know about you, but just seeing the iconic THQ logo followed up by the Ukes logo sends chills down the spines of veteran players of any of their classic franchises. Afterwards, you'll be followed up by an introduction video, which I'd love to show, but the copyright strike is strong. However, you can tell that it is a love letter to the talent who are featured in the game. Even being able to customize your favorite wrestlers to allow them to hold multiple championships, making them a belt collector, and having them come out draped out in nothing but gold is a testament to the fan service that this game provides. Wrestler interests on the game take the short approach on the game, just like on WWF No Mercy, where you get a ramp-only entrance for the person making their way to the ring. Unlike previous wrestling game entries, you as a player can completely control the camera angles and pyrotechnics in real time, making this a fully player hands-on experience. Fight Forever will instantly feel familiar to those veterans of the Nintendo64 era. Kids who grew up with WWF No Mercy, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, or WCW NWO Revenge will instantly feel comfortable with the control scheme that is being used by the game. Grapple commands are tied to one button, and now strikes are now bound to high and low strikes, which allow you to vary up your offense, create unique combos, and set up opportunities to place your opponent on the defensive while pressing forward with your offense. Controls are contextual with the variation of light and strong grapples and strikes by either pressing or holding down the appropriate button. Once in a grapple state, players can use a combination of directions and buttons to perform different kinds of moves, or to use the Irish whip button to send your opponent into the ropes, setting them up for rebound attacks and other things in various situations. Defensive options have now changed from the single press of an R button to more of a WrestleMania 18 or Day of Reckoning style of controls, where the R1 button blocks grapples and L1 blocks strikes. L2 is your action button. Buttons can be changed in the options menu to your liking so that it fits your playstyle. Personally, I moved my run button to the R2 buttons, and the Irish whip button is now my circle button. The right stick controls the taunts along with the activation of your special meter. Signatures and finishers are now tied to the press of a D-pad when you're in this state of the meter. When you're in the signature state, you have the ability to perform multiple signature moves until you activate your special meter. The special meter operates just like it did in past games, where you tilt on the taunt stick to trigger the activation of the move. Then you have a limited time to use your finisher before it runs out, while still having the ability to use your signature move as well while in this state. Unleashing your finisher provides you with a devastating move to end the match and secure the victory. With all the good that comes from this, there's also the bad. The run mechanic on the game is you feeling like you're running in quicksand, and the startup animation is extremely slow to start with when using your chosen wrestler. Also, there are instances where strikes don't connect immediately, or just go through the opponent. Not to mention that sometimes collision detection is very sketchy at moments. The meat and potatoes of the game that you'll be spending your time in is exhibition mode, playing through the various match types. In AEW Fight Forever, there's one-on-one singles matches that include normal, lights out, which is their variation of a hardcore match, and falls count anywhere matches. There's also tag team, triple threat, and fatal four-way matches in the game, allowing up to 4 players locally to pick up a controller and enjoy the mayhem. While you have access to these standard kinds of matches, there are no options currently to customize match types and add stipulations. For instance, if you want to do a triple threat elimination match, you can't, which is weird considering that you had these options back on previous games from the same developers. Not allowing the player to customize their match types was one of the reasons that WWE 2K15 tanked, and hopefully this is something that they add in the future. There are also specialty matches in the game. The Casino Battle Royal mode lets you recreate the infamous match type on where the game. There are 4 groups of people based on the suit of the deck. You know, hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds. And the final entry is the wild card, or the Joker, who is the last entrance. It functions like a Stato Battle Royal, with over-the-top rope eliminations until the last man is standing. I love the touch of showing the next entrant in a smaller window when an opponent has been eliminated, and then being able to watch them do their ramp entrance before running down to the ring. Ladder matches are a one-on-one type where two people are attempting to grab the casino chip from the ladder. Fans of AEW like myself wish that the big gold brass ring that was featured when Scorpio Sky won the match was an option, but a chip will do. Ladder matches have a quicker, more sense of urgency to them, with button mashing when the prompt comes up to remove the chip from the top of the ladder. This mode also does not have a fatal 4-way or a triple threat mode. Only one-on-one ladder matches are available. This game implements a training mode into its game for the first time for current gen wrestling games. You have an amount of options to choose from when messing in this area, but it allows for you to adjust the difficulty of the AI, mess with their HP along with your own, set it to take no damage, choose momentum between default, signature, or special state, and activate their different behaviors and put them in situations like strike guard, grapple guard, aggressive, or stop. The last match type that is in the local game options is a controversial exploding barbed wire death match. The match begins and there's 120 seconds before the ring explodes. There are barbed wire ropes, barbed wire tables, and explosions every time someone makes contact with the wires. Blood flows from the wrestlers after the explosion and can get kind of graphic when entangling people in the wires until you or your opponent is pinned or submitted in the middle of the ring with no possible way of escaping the ring. Within all the match types, intergender matches can occur, but men can't hold women's titles and vice versa. It's a nice change of pace to deliver slams equally and have them be able to compete with others. The roster for AEW Fight Forever is relatively small compared to the massive roster of 100 plus people in the WWE games. The base roster on the game is about 49 people, including the 2 locked characters in the shop. The roster includes fan favorites like Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, Adam Cole, Darby Allin, and Orange Cassidy. Controversial people like CM Punk, Eddie Kingston, Sammy Guevara, and Cody Rhodes. And yes, even your dastardly heels like Christian Cage, Bryan Danielson, MJF, and Andrade El Idolo. Legends also make the cut like Sting, Dustin Rhodes, and Chris Jericho. At the time of review, I haven't figured out how to obtain certain wrestlers who you can face in the game like Brody Lee. Matt Hardy is also in the game in both his Broken and Team Extreme variants, but are currently locked behind a paywall as a pre-order bonus. The review version that I received didn't give me access to them, but like all games these days, there could be a day one patch that rectifies these issues. Speaking of day one additions, there's something that I'm not a fan of revolving around the game. Day one DLC for purchase. If you buy the Elite version for $79.99 US, you also get access to the Season Pass with the following packs. The AEW Fight Forever Limitless Bunny Bundle, which features wrestlers The Bunny and Keith Lee, plus the minigames MJF Car Thrash and Sloth Sling. That is your day one DLC. The AEW Fight Forever FTR Revival Pack featuring wrestlers Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, plus minigames Join Us and Death Race X. And the last DLC for this pack is the AEW Fight Forever Hookhausen Very Handsome Very Evil Pack, which features wrestlers Hook and Danhausen. Minigames are also included in these packs to add more to the minigames section. Speaking of minigames exist in the game. There are a variety of games on the game, including Chick Gather, AEW Pop Quiz, Penta Says, and more. A lot of minigames I got to experience in Road to Glory mode. This mode only had the aforementioned 3 minigames selectable at the time of this review, so hopefully this is also fixed in the day one update, so they are made more accessible in Exhibition. Online play is available along with true crossplay for multiple platforms including PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series consoles along with PC. While we aren't too sure how it will function, there is a party system that you can select by pushing the options button on the home screen. There are online ranked matches where you'll go online and win points to work your way up from rookie and try to level up to become an AEW main eventer. The top 100 main eventers will be given the title of Legend as their rank. Ranked matches allow for you to choose any of the match types that are included in the game, but also allows you to use a creative wrestler to go online and attempt to earn rank. This could be problematic if players begin to find ways to create cheesy builds to climb the ranks. But at the time of the recording, no one was queuing up for ranked matches, so I couldn't experience that personally. Casual matches, on the other hand, are a different story. Casual matches have the same options as ranked, just casual. Whereas I couldn't queue up for a match in ranked, I was able to play casual matches by coordinating with a friend who also had access to the game and test out the online functionality. We tested out all the available one-on-one match types, and both had a very solid online experience. There wasn't a bunch of lag spikes, reversals, counters, felt instantaneous, and some of the matches you would get white knuckle matches that either of us could have won. We couldn't load in the private match sections because it was grayed out. All in all, an enjoyable experience. Road to Elite is the game's campaign mode, where you can take an existing wrestler or create a character through an evolving storyline depending on your wins and losses when you try to work your way through Double or Nothing, Revolution, Full Gear, and finishing up it all out. The storylines will branch in different directions depending on the outcomes of your match. When attempting to start a new story with the previous character, the stats do not carry over to your new playthrough, so the player can feel free to play with other wrestlers and experience their heart's content to get all the stories and snapshots available in the mode. The BTE crew, Mac and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks, handle the minigame portion of the show, where you'll attempt to get more skill points for your character by playing minigames that are currently locked behind this mode at the time of this recording. But it's an all or nothing deal, just like being the Elite Championship is defended on their YouTube show. Road to Elite mode also allows you to visit new towns and try new foods on the game that you may or may have not ever seen before. From Philly cheesesteaks to soul food, it's all covered in all aspects, even avocado toast. When visiting new towns, you can go sightseeing, do TV interviews that boost your momentum, or do matches on AEW Dark or Rampage to earn extra currency that will go towards your character while progressing through the story. You can then use those currency to purchase perks from 3 different categories: stat skills, which boost your overall performance; action skills, which enhance various offensive and defensive skills; and passive skills, which grant various buffs that trigger during certain events during the match. Your energy meter determines what you can handle during the turn before potentially getting injured and needing to go to the hospital. You have 4 turns before you reach the pay-per-view to try to get closure upon the story, whether it's a good outcome or a bad. You're also allowed to join factions, attempt romance, and even try to become the top person in charge at All Elite Wrestling. You also make money after completing a match that can be used to be purchased unlocks in the AEW shop. Once you complete Road to Elite mode, you unlock the Elite difficulty, letting you test your limits against the CPU and see just how elite your gameplay is during the match. All that being said, it's a mode where you'll touch it once or twice, and the novelty will wear off while you go into another mode. The Custom Suite allows you to create your own wrestler, your own arena, or your own team of wrestlers to use in all game modes. The Creation Suite is kind of bare bones, to be honest. The store has extra parts, clothing options, and other things to enhance the suite, but honestly, it seems like something that they could have just cut content from to move from one place to another so you can have something to grind for. It's very simple to use and create a lot of characters along with your certain WWE superstars taunts existing in the game for you to attempt to create your own dream wrestler. There isn't any option to upload custom logos or even submit your creative wrestler to the community creations area, as their competition offers body morphing also lacks the ability to be meticulous and further alter your wrestler to your exacting specifications. The same can be said for the custom arena maker with bare bone options and enough to make something that you'll fight in once or twice. AEW Fight Forever is a good attempt at trying to give wrestling fans a new option to experience some of the gameplay that has made them infamous with wrestling game enthusiasts around the world. The gameplay is simple enough to pick up for casual fans, but still offers some complexity to master for veterans of the scene. The game succeeds in that point in capturing the nostalgia of the late 90s and early 2000s. While the Custom Suite lacks the ability to satiate those fans in making new creations for wrestlers and arenas, the gameplay is strong enough to carry it through for lots of local and online multiplayer. Road to Elite mode is a one and done mode that won't have you clamoring to go back and replay to get the deep story that you might be craving. AEW Fight Forever, the game, gets a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this content, click the next video to see more of what's offered here. And if you really enjoy the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. It's free and it helps the channel grow a lot.